Welcome. Welcome and good morning, everyone. Welcome to our service on this cold and rather drizzly Memorial Day weekend. Why don't you guys go ahead and say hello to each other in the chat if you haven't yet. My name is Cara Fortner. I am a lay leader here at UUCR, the Unitarian Universalist Church in Reston, and I'm so glad to be with you all this morning. Welcome to all of our friends and neighbors, members, guests. If you are visiting us this morning for the first time, please know that you are also so welcome here. Our minister, the Reverend Deborah Hafner, is on leave, as is our religious education director, Linda Weaver. She, however, did send in a Time for All Ages video that is just wonderful, and I have such gratitude for Linda. I'm happy to be leading service this morning with a wonderful worship team. Cynthia Young, our music director, is also leading this morning's service with me. And Jesse Leong, our wonderful piano accompanist, are here to help lead. Nate Otto on tech, and Maggie Mack is our usher in the chat. Thank you. As we move into our time of worship, let us first take a moment and a deep breath. This past week, there was tragedy in San Jose with 9 shots. And just last night in Miami, 2 shot dead and over 20 injured. I'm going to light a special candle this morning to mourn that loss. And we hold those who loved them and who do still love them, and those who lost their lives. Now let us enter into a time of worship as we listen to Morning Mood by Edvard Grieg, performed by our wonderful accompanist, Jesse. Thank you, Jesse. What a lovely way to enter into this time of worship. Good morning again, everyone. As I said, I'm a lay leader here at the church. I see a bunch of you in the chat, so it's good to see you this morning. I will always start any service that I've had here at the church by saying how grateful I am that we, in our faith and in this church, allow for lay voices to be heard in this format. So I'm grateful for your ears and for your open minds and for a willingness to allow lay voices. I realized actually when preparing for this service that I have given the sermon on Memorial Day weekend multiple times, so much that I developed a standard for it, and it was almost always about preparing for summer and kicking off the unofficial summer time and looking forward to the anticipated longer days and pool and no school. And I thought perhaps this year I would focus more on the meaning of Memorial Day and the difficulties that come with respecting our ancestors while also paving new ways as ancestors for future generations. So my opening words this morning are a poem called Ancestors' Prayer by one of our own congregants, Kath Hoagland. You whisper to me across the ages, remnants of what you have left behind. Some ancient ruins, others I carry within me. This light, the light you gifted me, seeps out of me in my language, in the reality I perceive. I'd like to believe it all came from a place of compassion and wisdom, even lessons that prove to be wrong, even the parts in your minds, our minds, that are misguided. Now I am the one who whispers to the far off tomorrow. Will they understand me even as my world molds their reality? Will there be wisdom in my lessons? Or will I lead them astray? Watch over me, ancestors, as I tread your footsteps while forging my own path. Forgive me, scions, for my errors, which I fear may be many.
Good morning. My name is Cynthia Young, and I am the music director at UUCR. Our opening hymn this morning is number 347, Gather the Spirit. The words will be in your chat box. We invite you to sing along with me and Jesse.
Witness the mystery of this hour.
It is time in our service for our chalice lighting. You may wish to light a candle in your own home as I read this morning's chalice lighting words, and as we enjoy a photo of our beautiful UU Rest in Chalice. These words were adapted from a reading by Reverend Kimberly Carlson. We are a people of memory. As inheritors of our ancestors' legacy, we hold their stories deeply. We tenderly carry within us their wisdom, hopes, and dreams. As we kindle the flame of our chalice today, let us remember and honor the light of their love living in us. In our church, we intentionally recommit to each other every Sunday by singing our covenant together. Love is the spirit of this church. We will sing along with our own wonderful UUCR choir and congregation virtual video. The words will be in your chat box. If you are visiting us this morning for the first time, please accept this song as our blessing to you.
Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another in fellowship.
Good morning. I'm Linda Weaver, the Director of Religious Education at UUCR. Now is the time for all ages, so gather round your screens. This morning, you will be hearing about the worship and celebration of ancestors. Ancestors are relatives who are no longer alive, perhaps like your great-grandparents or great-great-great-grandparents. Two holidays that celebrate the ancestors are Dia de los Muertos and the Qingming Festival. Dia de los Muertos takes place on November 1st and 2nd and is a time to remember families, members, and friends who have died. In the fall, we talked about this holiday and shared a video from Louisa McCarthy, a friend of Reverend Deborah's. Let's watch a short clip from that video.
Dia de los Muertos is a day to celebrate the dead. Friends, family, and others, it's a wonderful celebration. We have a tradition, we have an obligation that we celebrate our dead. We celebrate our wonderful friends and family that we miss.
Tradition is that in a cemetery we go and we build an altar for our loved one. We decorate their place of resting and bring the foods that they liked. We pretty much celebrate their life and bring the foods that they liked the most, their personal mementos, pictures, and we pray and we all eat together. It's a big celebration where we are just so united and full of love and laughter.
The second celebration, the Qingming Festival, is sometimes referred to as the Chinese Memorial Day. It is also known in English as Tomb Sweeping Day. It takes place around April 5th. During the festival, families visit the graves of their ancestors and clean and decorate them. They may also leave food, tea, or wine, and burn incense and joss paper as a ritual offering. As you consider these celebrations and the other ways people have worshipped and remembered their ancestors, I encourage you to think about how you might honor the people who were here before you and who made your life possible.
Thank you, Linda. This is now the time in our service where we invite you to share your joys and concerns in the chat box. We hope that in sharing, you will know that you are not alone. You may wish to light a candle in your own home to mark what is in your heart as we show a photograph of the candles in our sanctuary. If you are sharing a joy or concern in the chat, please make sure that you are marking to all attendees, and remember that anything you write is public. As we put up the slide of our lit candles and enjoy the beautiful meditation music played by Jesse, please enter into a time of quiet and let each other's joys and concerns wash over you. Let us take this time to gather those thoughts and joys and concerns that we have, from the joys of gathering together for dinners with friends we haven't seen in so long, for good friends and good friendships that we have, and strengthening bonds, for the vaccinations even our children are now receiving. As we move forward into this new time, there is so much joy to be had. And today though, and this Memorial Day weekend, we remember those who came before. And it's good to remember past parents who have passed and gave their love and lives, soldiers who died and sacrificed. Let's hold some space for their lives. To all who came before, may your lives be remembered, even if they were never written down. May they be honored with gratitude. Amen.
The beautiful song We Are by Dr. Issei Barnwell appears as number 1051 in our teal hymnal. Dr. Barnwell is an internationally celebrated composer, singer, educator, and author, and for 34 years performed with the vocal ensemble Sweet Honey in the Rock. Dr. Barnwell is also a fellow UU. Last year, she recorded We Are with the UUA General Assembly Virtual Choir. Here she is performing the solo in this powerful virtual version created especially for GA 2020.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Oh, for each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Oh, for each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage, fathers of time, daughters of dust, and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy, brothers of love, lovers of life, and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth, keepers of faith, makers of peace, and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage, fathers of time, daughters of dust, and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy, brothers of love, lovers of life, and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are one.
We are one. Yes, I am so grateful for Dr. Barnwell's words and her performance. Just wonderful. One of my favorite hymns. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the spirit of God, makers of peace, wisdom of ages, seekers of truth, keepers of faith. These words resound in me, the sense of respect needed to pay our ancestors. We could not be here if it had not been for them. Tomorrow is Memorial Day, a national holiday commemorating those who died while in military service of their country, particularly those who died in battle as a result of wounds sustained in battle, or as a result of wounds sustained in battle. This is not a time for patriotism. It is a time of remembrance. And even if we wish that there had never been such an idea as war, we must remember that people fought and lost their lives for our protection and safety. This is a day to remember our American ancestors, but maybe also it is a time to remember our global ancestors, those who fought and died in wars against America in hope for their country, for their people. People who have died in violent wars with righteous belief. People who have died in violent wars without a choice. As we move forward, we realize more and more that this world is small. We are more connected to people across the world than we have ever been. Technology keeps changing and makes communication more accessible, more possible. This last year in COVID has especially shown us that. We are growing in our consciousness of and through connection. Ancestor worship is the oldest form of religion. Before Confucius in China, there were rituals for remembering people's ancestors and praying for hope and guidance from their ancestors. In Linda's video, she showed you the celebration of the Day of the Dead and the Chinese ritual that they have of their special remembrances. Before the Baals, Asherahs, Gaias, before Yahweh and Allah and Jesus, there were those who came before. Even Odin and Zeus themselves had fathers. It is the fact that we have a temporary blip of time on this earth that our ancestors decided to worship those who came before. Today, China is essentially an atheist country, and where just even the mention of religion might get a person in trouble. But there is evidence of tribute and worship to ancestors found all over China. I visited my sister who was living in China in Shanghai 8 years ago. I was there, and we went to a Buddhist temple in Shanghai, which was lovely. But it was really of quite a tourist space. It's not really used for any worship by Buddhists at the moment. But there are little shrines all over the place. And those shrines were not for the Buddha. They were people coming from all over and finding themselves in this place of worship, found a good spot to make a little shrine, fruits, jewelry, just like the woman in the Day of the Dead video was showing for them, remembering a little shrine for those they're remembering. The spirit of remembrance is an act of worship. A Buddhist temple is a place of worship. I think it is true that in a place of worship, any kind, chapel, a sanctuary, a temple, a mountaintop, and we listen to that still small voice, we might want to sit with memories of those we've lost. Our mortality makes us face the undeniable mysteries of this world. It brings us grief, but it also brings hope. Our world is constantly changing. Many of those who came before us are guilty of atrocities. How can we learn from and respect those who came before while acknowledging our role as pavers of roads, as ancestors ourselves to future generations? I think the only way is to live the best way we can. And there are many, many methods by which this can be accomplished. We know the 10 Commandments, the Eightfold Path, the Golden Rule, the Platinum Rule. There are 7 UU principles, eight UU principles. As UUs, we are called to take right action against the issues plaguing our communities: racism, xenophobia, transphobia, climate change. My goodness, climate change. We might just learn to love each other, right? Just in time for the world to flood, or for the air to clog our lungs, or our oceans to turn to plastic. There may be no beautiful earth for our children's children's children, or just our children's children, if we don't take right action towards our Mother Earth now. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. The Spirit of God is found in that struggle for goodness, for making things right where there is identified a wrong. As Americans, we cannot deny our ancestors' wrongs of creating and upholding white supremacy. The horrific wrongs of slavery, Jim Crow, lynchings, beatings, and brutality against our Black brothers, sisters, and all who identify in between. A past that brutal cannot be stamped with a Rights Act and declared rectified. We are not done. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are living ancestors. Do you know that all of the cells in the body get replaced every 7 years? There is not a cell in your body that was alive 7 years ago. Biologically, you're a completely new human. We are literally not the same people we were 7 years ago. We are our own ancestors. In the same way that we must think about our children's children and our neighbors' children's children, we must think of our future selves and how we might live today so that our future generations might be grateful. There are many things that need our care and attention on this earth in this time. We must each find our way. We are not all made the same. We don't have the same priorities. We all function differently and come from different perspectives. And we each have limitations and superpowers. I once heard a speaker at the Martin Luther King Jr. Concert that the MLK Church puts on every year and that our choir participates in every year, or has been for like the last 6 years. And the speaker said, we each have a gift. It's time to unwrap them. Our gifts are in front of us. Let us use them wisely, with care and responsibility, with respect for those who came before. Those whose stories might not have been written down or upheld as good enough. Those whose traumatic ancestry is still fresh and raw. Let us love each other and let us pave good roads as living ancestors.
Thank you so much, Cara, for that beautiful message. Join us now in singing our closing hymn, number 1001, Breaths. Thank you again to Cara and to Megan Pitluck-Schmidt for leading this hymn for us. The words will be in your chat box. Let's all sing along with Cara, Megan, and Jessie.
Listen more often to things and to beings. Listen more often to things and to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. Those who have died have never, never left. The dead are not under the earth. They are in the rustling trees. They are in the growing woods. They are in the crying grass. They are in the floating rocks. The dead are not under the earth. So listen more often to things and to beings. Listen more often to things and to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. Those who have died have never, never left. The dead have a pact with the living. They are in the woman's breast. They are in the waiting child. They are with us in our homes. They are with us in this crowd. The dead have a pact with the living. So listen more often to things and to beings. Listen more often to things and to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters.
In order to move forward, we must look behind. May our ancestors' lives be a reminder to us how life used to be. May they aid us with the sacred understanding that our mortal lives will end, but this space here on earth continues. May we be open to the ways in which we can do good, be good, have good. May we have the strength and courage to be responsible and caring, living ancestors.
Our postlude today is Over the Rainbow by Harold Arlen in a virtual choir performance by the vocal ensemble that I direct called Bella Voce. We hope this song sends you out into your day with hope, joy, and a feeling of connection with those who came before.
In a
service is coming to a close. Before we start our breakout rooms, we ask you to make your contribution to our weekly virtual collection plate by following the link in your chat box. The link will also be on the offertory slide, which we will show you in a moment. You may also mail in your check. Please do log into the breakout rooms after Jesse finishes playing our final music for us. We also invite you to use the chat box now as a virtual reception line if you'd like to leave us a message about the service, thanking Cara in particular for today's beautiful message. Please feel free to type it into the chat box now and know that your words of appreciation matter. Before we put up our offering slide, let me close our service today by thanking you for being with us this morning. Go in peace, go in joy, and may the love we found here nurture and sustain us as we go out into the world.